A, meeting opening. A1, call to order. A2, adoption of the agenda. Are there any consent agenda items that a board member would like to have discussed as an action item? Hearing none, do I have a motion that the governing board adopt the meeting agenda?
I move we adopt the meeting agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Oropesa. Is there a second?
I second it.
Thank you, Mr. Navarez. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Moving to B, study session. B1, ASD policy review. G, policies. Ms. Dana Lucero.
There are quite a few, and Ms. Perry and Mr. LaLiberty are both here from HR. Most of, well, basically all of these are, G policies live in the HR world, so the very first one, general personnel policies, that's just per a previous policy advisory that was some other time before I was here. And it's just a removal of that last sentence. No questions?
No.
Okay. Moving on. This one also, it's a policy advisory that was prompted by a House bill in July of 2012. So it removed quite a bit of the language and spoke to, moved. A lot of this language that they removed actually lives in another policy that will be up for review later down the list. No questions?
No.
GBED. This one. Just some language clarification regarding enforcement of it being a non-smoking, the district or school property.
Is there an actual change in this?
It's at the very bottom,
Oh, okay.
The date.
under enforcement, should be in red. Mine's in red.
GBED.
GBED.
In red here. Just the date.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
No.
at the way more at the bottom where it says.
Enforcement.
Never mind. I don't see it either.
No.
Oh. If you go to the, I can't share what I have.
Strange.
It comes up on mine.
We have a hard copy here. So that's added.
If you
like-
click on GBED there, and it doesn't show up on yours, it shows up on mine. I don't,
Could you click on Leticia's comment and click the check mark?
it took it away,
No, it's here now.
but it's not in red.
Oh, I see.
So you wouldn't have known that was a change.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, did anybody have a question?
Oh, I see. Okay, so
I cannot.
I see. It's here. It's just not. It's coded. It's that right there. Okay, I see.
Yeah. I can't make changes to what's already a document inside of this. I mean, I do have the power to do that. I can't do it during a meeting. Does that make sense?
What's black should actually be in green because that's what's
Yeah, we're, everything under enforcement.
I see. Okay.
Yes,
Yes.
And it's on our document, I think the confusion was just, we didn't know what was being added since it's all in black, the text is all in black.
And this is recommended verbiage?
yes.
I don't have a question particularly about the policy, but just curious, an example of off-campus school-sponsored events.
Like a field trip?
A field trip? A field trip would be a good example, yeah.
As long as there's no smoking.
You can't smoke. The employee cannot smoke. But that would be a good example. If an athletic event that's held at Alhambra High School, it's not on our campus, you are on another campus, but it's not ours, it's an off-campus sponsored event.
I see.
Does that help? Any other questions? GBEF, let's see if this one shows up red for you guys, hopefully. Good, on this one, yeah. Oh, that's a cute little picture. I don't know where she came from, but she's cute. This one, this is language changes per ASBA as well.
And it's already outdated because it's Twitter instead of X.
Yes, and we thought about that.
I think we're gonna lose that battle unless we want to update this policy every 2 weeks.
Yeah, that was what, one of the things that we talked about. You know, I mean, we crossed out a lot of things. BlackBerry, I think there probably still are BlackBerries, but I don't know, you know, so.
Question about like, I know there was some platforms striked, such as Flickr, Skype. What about Snapchat? If it's somewhat pretty relevant, still is that it's removed?
I think that the idea was that we thought that interactive dialogue would include all of that. Social media technologies, we're just not limiting them to any.
Okay, so like TikTok may still be one,
TikTok may still be,
just not named here.
yes. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, good. We tried, but you're right, Mr. Orpe, so we could be changing this one weekly, monthly.
No further questions for me.
Okay. Oh, let's see. Sorry, my computer jumped ahead. GBGC. This one originally, so it's kind of a two-part. We did not have a workers' compensation policy. One did exist, but Alhambra did not have one, and so it lived in this policy. Our recommendation is that we remove this paragraph that refers to workers' compensation, and we are going to add the workers' compensation policy. Are we good?
Yep.
Mhm.
This, a language change per ASBA. You no longer, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. LaLiberty or Ms. Perry, the professional certificates are no longer sent to the county school superintendent's office. Is that correct? That's basically the only change in there. They added a little bit of language to assure confidentiality, but next. GBK. It's just to provide more clarity for it as, again, per ASBA.
And that's everything in blue, right? That's
Everything
all
blue.
Updated.
All updated.
Was the previous verbiage per ASBA, or was it our own?
This one, let me look at what it said at the bottom. It would have been ours originally, not, I mean, it was ASBA's. This was not a policy that, in the past, you've seen some that are just Alhambra policies. This was not one of
Okay.
those.
Okay.
Question. Oh, sorry. Just question about the timeline. Is that number of days to complete something that we provided, or is recommended from ASPA? Within 5 working days, follow notifications of the superintendent decision.
That at the, when we changed this, that is per ASBA.
The appeal is for the employee, not for the board, right? Correct?
Correct.
Right, okay.
I have a question about the 15 working days. Is that in Arizona revised statutes, or is that just a policy internal? And the reason why I ask that question is because sometimes in our governing board calendar, we have one meeting a month. And so would we be able to meet that 15 working day requirement?
We'd have to look in Arizona revised statute. It could very well be, I don't know, I'm looking through it now, but it, I mean, it's a pretty lengthy Arizona revised statute. I don't see anywhere where it says 15 days, but
Oh, one of the things, the 15 days starts once we review. And we can choose
correct,
our time for review.
correct.
And so we could time it, it's kind of on the board's timeline, right?
Thank you for that clarification. Now that I read the entire sentence over again, it makes sense.
Yeah. So you'd have plenty of time.
Okay.
GCBA. This was a change from Alhambra to reflect current practice.
Can you explain the blanks in years?
That I cannot. That's a HR.
Thank you. Lupe, sorry, President Conchas, are you explaining the blanks on the where it's been crossed out, or?
Yeah, so it says the maximum credit of blank years for substantiated experience, i.e. based on the blank step of the salary schedule.
So the prior policy before this was, as you can see from the crossouts, is we would only honor 8 years of experience. And so now it's been crossed off. We don't stop at 8 with that maximum. It's been all taken out. And so the blank years
Oh.
would be if I'm coming with 20 or 9 or 3 or 29 years of experience. So we will then place them on that appropriate level of the substantiated experience. The blank is just, it could be any number. Is that what?
Yeah, I think, what.
Or is
oh, it-
that, or you think, oh, I think, or is it the for credit of for years of substantiated experience?
Period.
So it's kind of, I don't think it's a blank, I think it's a
The-
cross and an
right.
add at the same time, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
Will be given credit for 9 years of experience, but for credit for years of substantiated experience is I think how that will read when it's all finished without all the strike-throughs and all the colors.
Okay.
Given credit for years of substantiated experience, whether that's 9 or.
Correct. It will read, will be given credit for years of substantiated experience, period.
So it's dragging through the blank.
Yeah, because what you have right there is not right here. So
And I don't know the answer to that because I'm just reading off of the attachment in board docs. Are you reading off the attachment? So I don't know why they're not translating the same as what I read.
So this will be read as will be given a maximum credit of years for substantiated experience.
Just will be
That's,
given credit for years for substantiated.
okay, this, ours says credit of years for substantiated
Yeah,
experience.
it's crossed out.
I think the reason, Dana, why you have your version and we can't is because you can see Leticia's comments on yours, and we can't see Leticia's comments.
And, yeah,
Should we share it differently, possibly? Is there a way to?
So the blue, if I understand, anything that's not black is not, no, blues are added. So
blues are added.
Yeah, okay, so for us, we do have a blank there. It looks like you'd fill it in with a pin.
Exactly, that's what's confusing for
Yeah.
the reader who has access to this, is just seeing that it looks like we have to fill in a blank.
And we do not,
And it's
yeah,
quite that way in the policy.
yeah, we do not.
The exciting part is that we're not just maximizing just 8 years of credit, and we're giving all years of credit. So that was where the intent of the policy changes.
Oh, so it's not even, is it max, so it's not a maximum credit, it's just credit for years?
Yes, exactly.
I see.
Dana said it matches our current practice. So years and years and years ago, when anyone came to Alhambra, our salary schedule was a lot shorter. It was only steps. We would max them at the halfway spot. We always max our teachers at 8, even coming in with 20 years of experience, 8. And since our salary schedule's grown, since we've become and wanting to value all that experience that comes to us, we know it's great for kids, we no longer max out those steps. It's not 8, it's as many as you come with.
You don't happen to have a hard copy of this one, do you?
Just, here you go. You can have mine.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Can I see
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
Yes. Do you want to, and if Mr. Liberty will, give his copy as well. You guys can, if anyone else wants to.
See, this is what I see on my,
And then this isn't on board docs, so it's just the.
it is. You just, I can't tell you why it's looking different. I cannot.
For clarification, for the study session,
Yes.
this is the study session,
Yeah.
but when it comes to the board for approval,
Yeah,
they will reflect
absolutely.
accurate,
So we
accurately.
simply have to understand what is being said here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're not voting on anything about, you just,
Good, because I saw a double space earlier, and I was
no, that won't happen.
approve.
Yeah.
nothing less than perfection. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm glad we clarified that because I was like, why would we leave a blank in a policy?
The next one's going to look very similar to that as well.
Okay, so we're moving to the next one.
GCF. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's the access. You do not.
Oh, that's it. We don't have edit access.
You do not.
I see, yeah.
In the future, I wonder if it would be helpful that they're not the Google Docs, but that we download a PDF or something to upload, just so that we're all looking at the same thing.
Yeah. Oh, well, actually, I believe that the PDFs are on there. I'm going in a different way, so I'm going to check. but I do believe. Yeah, see, I can only join the meeting, so.
It only goes to the links, the Google Doc links in the PDF. Let me try this.
So if you go back to the agenda,
Mhm.
what lives in there?
The same
Oh, the same thing.
the
Yeah.
same Google Doc links.
Yeah.
If we can have your screen shared on here, we would be able to see everything.
I don't know if that's possible. I could
That would be very helpful.
drive the bus.
Oh, I see. So this year,
How big is the bus?
that's being, we are not having that. Okay. Yeah, that is confusing.
There's a lot.
But the problem is that that's not what the public is going to be seeing. But if they watch the video, then they will be, but it's not currently available to the public in board docs. In a whole package after all of them are done.
I see. Yep.
Can see your screen.
So are there any questions on this one? This one updated the date of when to accept.
So we've moved it from 30 to 15, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
It was 15, and it still is 15 for certified and support staff. It's 30 for administrators and psychologists per statute.
I see.
That was just the change. Our
Oh, I see. Okay.
Thanks.
Earlier, I had asked us something similar to this regarding the within 15 calendar days and whether or not that's a statute that we have to follow. But from the way I understood it, it just has to be no less than 15 days, right? Or is it, so you can do 19 or 16 days?
For accepting a contract?
Never mind.
For educators to accept a contract within 15 days before the 16th day.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I was thinking about something a little bit different, but I understand now. Thank you.
Okay. GCMC.
This one is right.
This was updated to make clear the expectations. So it's an ASBA recommendation. No questions?
No.
GCQC, resignation of professional staff. this was additional verbiage from a regulation. We added it. There was a regulation, and we removed the regulation and just put the language on the policy. No change to the language, just moved it to be one document.
Can someone explain due cause? What does due cause mean?
The reason why they would be resigning. So it's kind of saying, you know, you guys, after August 1st or after, you know, generally the start of the year, you do have an ability as the board to deny, you know, a resignation. And we do hope that, you know, we don't normally tend to do that. The board doesn't tend to do that because they can usually, you know, have reasons. Due cause is why they're.
Due cause is
Yes, that's
proper
the
reasons. Right, okay.
You know, those are some of the reasons.
So outside of due, is this document saying that outside of due cause, we can accept a resignation? Or is it saying that if it is due cause, we cannot deny a resignation? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, due cause is the exception.
Is the exception. So if they have due cause, there is no denial of a resignation.
No.
Right, okay. I'd hope not, right? So,
Right.
yeah, yeah, okay.
Yeah, you always-
I see what this is saying, okay.
Yeah.
Does personal or family illness or health problems also indicate like a death of a family member or personal? Is that what that means?
It could be that, it could be their state, or even our own state, for them, or provide more caregiving for.
Okay.
Can you ever recall a time where we have rejected a resignation?
Not
Don't have to be specific, but can you recall
in my
anything?
experience.
Okay.
Not in my experience.
In terms of spouses transferred to another community, do they have to be legally married?
We just, when they come and speak with me, and generally when they're breaching a contract or breaking, you know, we have liquidated damages. So we go through these conversations and speak about their needs and why they're making these, and that question, you know, they have problems with their spouse or significant other, it's the same. So treat it any differently.
Okay.
Ready?
Yes.
GDVA. This is an alignment with current practice.
And shifting terminology, correct? From
Correct.
classified to support staff
Correct.
personnel.
We
And we also took out, just because I want to point that out, we removed a sentence in there that didn't quite make sense. The annual step increase may be held if it's determined the employee does their job. We wouldn't, that's not in our practice, and we would do that, so we removed that.
That was a change we made last year, correct? Or is that,
That's in this removal right here. Annual increases may be withheld if it's determined the employee doesn't perform.
okay, sorry, I was looking at the Head Start language because I know last year, part of the big work when Head Start staff spoke to feeling separate or from district staff.
Yeah, a completely different salary schedule, receive different raises at different, depending on the situation, Head Start. So we brought them all together, more inclusive, and everybody moves that one step annually on that.
Are we changing verbiage from classified to support staff across all our policies?
We are trying.
Okay. All right.
All right, moving to new policies.
Is this a word-for-word pull from the previous policy? Right, but we removed this verbiage from employee assistance.
Yeah, employee assistance, GBCG. GBCG.
Yeah, it looks like.
GC.
Okay, yeah.
It looks like it's working.
Paragraph that was included in a previous policy was something that Alhambra had put on there previously. But this one comes straight from ASBA.
Okay.
It covers.
And it actually is word for word what was removed from GC.
We probably pulled it from MASBA. So you, yeah,
Any other questions?
no.
All right, moving to GDQA.
This is also ASBA verbiage?
This is straight from ASBA.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions?
Nope.
No.
Moving to minor verbiage changes only. GBB. Moving to support staff.
Control F, like all classified, our whole policy Bible and just,
It lives in a lot of places, but, so, here's an example of what you were asking, yes.
Any other questions on GBB?
no.
Okay, GCA.
Again, support staff, and one sentence added, which is a current practice that we have.
Any questions?
No.
Okay, moving to GCD.
Support staff again. And this is recommendation from ASBA, just for clarification.
Any other questions?
No.
Okay, moving to GCFC. Any questions?
No. I'm sorry, what was the change here? I missed it.
This one,
Besides the date, was there a,
no.
is there an or somewhere? Okay.
There's two
There's
ors.
one word. It's an elimination. It's from,
Oh, I see.
yeah,
Okay. All right. That's fine. Some dashes. All right.
some dashes.
Yeah.
Punctuation.
Moving to GCJ.
This is language changes per ASBA and changing the word from non-continuing to probationary.
And it's also taking out that language in B. Okay, any other questions?
No.
All right, moving along. GCMF.
Again, language changes per ASBA. There is an Arizona revised statute in there as well.
Any questions?
Nope.
All right, moving to GCBC.
We changed, we added support staff to this one. And made it very short.
Any questions?
No.
All right, moving to the next policy. Any questions?
No.
It's just
Okay.
language, yeah.
Moving to the next policy.
Again, just language. We're trying to catch all of them, Mr. Oropesa.
Any questions on GDL? Okay. Moving to GDN.
There's also support.
Okay, any questions?
No.
Moving to GDQB.
This was language, well, we changed, moved the support, removed the classified. This was a language change and a practice.
Any questions?
No.
All right. Moving to be eliminated, GBAB.
This one, the recommendation is to eliminate it because it actually lives, all of this language lives up in GBECA and GBED. So it was redundant.
Okay.
Any questions?
No.
Okay, moving to GCKA.
Sorry. My battery, I hope. I'm doing good. It's okay, Ruben. I'm good. This one is being recommended for removal because this was added during COVID. And the recommendation is that it be eliminated.
I have a question for the board, for fellow board members and superintendent and team about this. We're eliminating it, but if we ever have another global pandemic or another reason to stay to do telecommuting work, will we need to bring this back?
Do we have any reference to telecommunicating in our policies besides this one? Telecommunicating or remote work?
No,
No remote work.
no remote
policies?
work.
Could,
We would. I mean, if we have people have to have a policy for it.
So this was originally brought during COVID as a recommendation. We didn't make this up. This came from ASBA. So their recommendation is to eliminate it.
I see.
my question was just going to be, could there be a language we include that says, you know, a superintendent may enact or use, or kind of like bring this policy up to use if the need is there? But kind of, you can answer the question about ASPA's recommendation.
So there is another policy, and I can't think of what it is off the top of my head right now, but there is a policy that basically allows the superintendent to make a decision to close schools at any time based on if it's an emergency or health reasons or things like that. There is a policy that exists already, and we do have that policy, and I can find it for you and send it to you. But we do have that. It gives the superintendent overall power to make those decisions.
And Dr. Myers, if we do eliminate this, are we basically saying that there's no telecommunicating work whatsoever in the district? Would there ever be an instance where an employee would telecommute?
Yeah, the question, sorry. So are we saying that that doesn't happen? No, we have guidance. I know specifically, for example, when it comes to professional development online. And so we have guidance that gives principals so that, and a part of it that doesn't require the teacher to come to the school if they have training online. But it gives more guidance just so that we're consistent throughout the district. So we do have guidance on that.
And when you say guidance, is that policy or is that just a regulation or an internal?
Within our admin guidelines, and so it's more so, just like with every policy, we still have to give a lot more guidance. And so there are practices that we engage in that can be found in our admin guide.
I guess my final question is, I'm reluctant in eliminating this policy. That's my opinion, but I wanted to ask you if that your recommendation would be to eliminate the policy overall.
You know, I'm comfortable eliminating it because, as Dana was speaking to, there are other ways that we're allowed to put practices in place that ensure that that we're all consistent throughout the district. The reason I'm comfortable eliminating it is because telecommuting in itself, the fact is we all are here to serve kids. And it's hard to, if teachers have to be in front of the kids every day to do their job, it's hard for any of us to say, you know, that we can consistently on a daily basis do our jobs from home. So we need to be, even I know something that we communicate a lot about is just staying proximate. And so how do you know what's going on unless you're close to the kids?
Any other comments or questions?
In some ways, we are right. If telecommunicating had to be an option, who knows what happens. If that's the case, I like this policy because it enforces the district in that. We are giving policy as to what is expected in that. If we don't have a policy like this, we'd have to make one quickly. But also, I like the enforcement of this. I like the equipping of the district for this. I don't, besides the implicit message that telecommunicating doesn't work well, besides that, I don't know if there's any other positive of deleting it. I'm kind of with Lupe on that. But also, if you believe you have the tools to enforce, if something like that happens, if you have the tools and the equipping to enforce as effective of a telecommunicating process that we can put together, then I'll be okay with deleting it. Makes sense.
I'm comfortable with postponing like that language there as far as, and as a team reviewing it and looking to see where our guidance that we give regarding the practices that I just mentioned, where that lives within policy, just to see if we would recommend something different. So let's take a closer look at it as a team.
I will add that the one thing I like about this policy is it gives the superintendent the authority over telecommuting. It doesn't give principals or site leaders or anything like that. It's really all of the decision-making power is to the superintendent.
It gives power to check too, so.
And I appreciate that. That's why, like I said, I would like to see where the guidance that we've previously given, where in policy that lives, that we provided that, just because, just as you said, what was happening, well, at one point, teachers reached out to me and did say, some of the principals are letting their teachers, participate in webinars from home, and then some are making them come. And so then we realized, okay, then we need to have a consistent practice. So what is practice? And we established some norms and provided that guidance to our principals. And so, as I said, I agree with you, and let's take a closer look at it as a team, just so that we know where the policy lives.
I will bring, I know it lives in more than one other policy, so I will find those other policies.
Perfect, Dana. And then if we're confident we know where it lives, then perhaps we would bring this back to say, the recommendation is still to remove it. But until then,
Yes.
yeah, so thank you.
Okay. Any other questions or comments?
No.
Well, we have completed the G policy. Congratulations. Stay tuned for F. B, C, D, E, F.
Reloaded, yeah.
I don't know my alphabet, so H is next, not F. All right, we'll take like a 3-minute recess.
Just pull it.
C, reconvene. C1, Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We will now have a 30-second moment of silence. Thank you. We'll move to D, presentation. D1, excellence in attendance. Ms. Gonzalez.
Yes, we would like to recognize our schools who have shown great improvements this quarter and this part of our year for attendance. So we welcome our governing board to please join us at the front and Mr. Gamino Guerrero to announce. Thank you.
President Conchas, governing board members, Superintendent Dr. Myers, and Alhambra community, our district continues to prioritize communicating the importance of regular attendance and its impact on academic growth and to our community, and I'm pleased to share with you that these efforts are paying off. We'd first like to recognize tonight and celebrate Choice Learning Academy for their improved attendance rate. So will the representatives from Choice Learning join us up here? At CLA, their staff's dedication alongside with the CLA attendance team has significantly improved student attendance through collaborative work with students, families, and teachers. Barriers to attendance have been dismantled using strategies such as student check-ins, classroom incentives, and continuous communication. The team has created an environment conducive to enhanced attendance, and it reflects a proactive approach and determination of the entire CLA community to make sure that students attend a school every day. So congratulations to CLA. Thank you. Once again, congratulations, CLA. Up next, we'd like to celebrate James W. Rice. Will the representatives for Rice join us up here? Their efforts from staff to the admin team, they've strategically improved student attendance. They've revamped their routine to ensure all students are welcomed warmly and have their needs met before the day even starts. Celebrations are held for those who've improved their attendance. And before we went on winter break this school year, they identified Tier 2 students. A secret student out of those was chosen each day, and if present, the class earned a snowflake for their tracking board. Home visits have been made to understand the barriers that are preventing students from going to school, and each quarter, they make sure that they recognize students privately, acknowledging their efforts and celebrating them with a certificate and a treat. They have mentors supporting those needs and encourage to attend school. And Mr. Kent actually does a weekly wig check in the morning announcements to make sure that students are attending. And their goal is to get into the top 3 district-wide for best attendance. And if that happens, the school will earn a school-wide reward. Congratulations to James W. Rice. Congratulations once again. And finally, we'd like to celebrate Alhambra Traditional School. Will the representatives for ATS join us up here? ATS has maintained an attendance average of over 95% this school year. Mr. Fight and Ms. Stegan visit classrooms daily, reinforcing the value of learning And attendance is emphasized at parent meetings. Their counselor reaches out to families with excessive absences to offer support. And classes with perfect attendance are featured on their marquee, and the students are rewarded. So let's give ATS another round of applause. Perfect, thank you. We are proud of their efforts and commitment to our student success. So we thank everyone district-wide for their commitment to our students, our community, and their success. Thank you.
Congratulations to all of y'all. One more round of applause. We're going to E, information items. E1, Valley Schools, summary of insurance products, coverages, and services. Moving to F, public comment, F1. We don't have any public comment today. Moving to G, consent agenda, G1, approval of consent agenda items. I call for a motion that the governing board approve consent agenda items G2 through G9.
I move that the governing board approve the consent agenda item G1 through G9.
Thank you, Mr. Navarro. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Solorio. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Motion passes. Moving to H, business services, H1. The submitted monthly report provides the district's financial status as of the report date, February 21st, 2024. Moving to I, human resources. I1, transportation position changes and new. I call for a motion that the governing board approve the revisions to the submitted transportation job description, training specialist.
I move that we approve the revisions to the submitted transportation job description, training specialist.
Thank you, Mr. Oropesa. Is there a second?
I second it.
Thank you, Mr. Narvaez. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Moving to J, board policies. J1, first reading of policy BEDB, agenda. I call for a motion that the governing board approve the first reading of policy BEDB, agenda.
I move that we approve the first reading of policy BEDB agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Oropesa. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Solorio. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Motion passes. Moving to J2, first reading of policy IHA, basic instructional program. I call for a motion that the governing board approve the first reading of policy IHA, basic instructional program.
I move that the governing board approve the first reading of policy IHI, basic instructional program.
IHA.
IHA.
IHA, basic instructional program.
Thank you, Mr. Navarez. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Solorio. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 The motion passes. Moving to J3, the first reading of policy JFA-BDA, admission of students in foster care. I call for a motion that the governing board approve the first reading of policy JFA-BDA, admission of students in foster care.
I move that the governing board approve the first reading of policy JFA-BDA, admission of students in foster care.
Thank you, Mr. Solorio. Is there a second?
I second.
Thank you, Mr. Oropesa. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion passes. Moving to J4, the first reading of policy JK, student discipline. I call for a motion that the governing board approve the first reading of policy JK, student discipline.
I move we approve the first reading of policy JK, student.
Thank you, Mr. Lopeza. Is there a second?
I second it.
Thank you, Mr. Navarez. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all those in favor say aye.
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 Motion passes. Moving to J5, first reading of policy JKD, student suspension. I call for a motion that the governing board approve the first reading of policy JKD, student suspension.
I move that the governing board approve the first reading of policy JKD, student suspension.
Thank you, Mr. Navarez. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Solorio. Is there any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all those in favor say aye.
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 The motion passes. Moving to J6, the first reading of policy JKE, expulsion of students. I call for a motion that the governing board approve the first reading of policy JKE, expulsion of students.
I move that the governing board approve the first reading of policy JKE, expulsion of students.
Thank you, Mr. Solorio. Is there a second?
I second it.
Thank you, Mr. Navarez. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. The motion passes. Moving to J7, the first reading of policy JLH, missing students. I call for a motion that the governing board approve the first reading of policy JLH, missing student.
I move we approve the first reading of policy JLH, missing students.
Thank you, Mr. Lopeza. Is there a second?
I second it.
Thank you, Mr. Navarez. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion passes. Moving to K, comments and communication. K1, comments from governing board members.
Mine will be brief. Well, that was a lot of policies real quick. I know there's a lot of these policies that we did the first reading for related to a lot about discipline or how we address students who may be a little challenging. And I had a great conversation with Ms. Gonzalez earlier regarding discipline. And, you know, I understand when we get the discipline reports that we are seeing just a little bit of information, right? We don't see the whole story. But I did notice that there's a lot more activity going on. And so first I want to say, you know, thank you teachers and support staff for just taking the brunt of what's going on your each school sites and how you help your students because I know it's a lot of work and it can feel heavy. So just hang in there. And it was also just nice to hear kind of what the district is intending to do with students who are maybe having frequent visits or getting suspended. And so it was helpful to have that conversation because I know truly the district cares and we want to help our students, but I also know that it may burn out staff who have to work with them. So just finding that balance and be able to still be effective is great. So I appreciate the conversations and just the overall subject behind the matter.
Any other comments? We won't see you all before spring break, so happy spring break. Please enjoy yourselves, take some time to yourselves. Also want to highlight the transportation department, and we approved a change to, or a new position, the training specialist. I just want to give kudos to our transportation department. Thank you, Ms. Bilyeu, for talking to me a little bit more about this and giving the board as much information as possible. I also just want to share a quick story that I have been talking to folks in my neighborhood and knocking on doors, and it's really just great to hear from people who work in our district and how proud they are. I've met cafeteria and child nutrition workers. I've met people that are even applying to be teachers in our district that are super excited about coming to Alhambra. So I just wanted to share that quick story with you all. And just thank you every day for everything that you do. Moving to K2, Governing Board Direction and or Agenda Item Requests. Hearing none, we'll go to K3, comments from Superintendent and Executive Team.
Good evening, everyone. Congratulations again to those who we recognize this evening for your improvement in attendance. I know that's been a huge focus and a lot of hard work, and so I'm just so thankful for all that you're doing to make sure our kids are here so that we can help them reach their full potential. We're going to begin our comments this evening with Mr. Reese from Educational Services.
Thank you. Good evening, President Conchas, Dr. Maez, governing board members, Alhambra community. During the course of the past couple of weeks, Dr. Maez and I met with all principals, all school leaders, and the conversations were driven by the guiding question: how do we know our students are learning, moving forward at the right pace? And it was such a wonderful experience to hear and see and discuss all the many wonderful things that school leaders have in place to really track progress as we continue to work toward our wildly important goals of achieving student success and really moving more schools into the A category as we continue to work toward those. And so it's really fun to see and hear some of the wonderful things that schools have, including CFA trackers. For those of you who might not be fully acquainted with CFAs, they're the Common Formative Assessments, and this is from the work of collaborative teamwork. And some school leaders have some really impressive metrics to chart how students are performing on multiple measures so that they can have some predictive value and know where their kiddos are going and if the instruction that's happening in the classroom is at the right level of rigor. We also discussed how teams are engaging in classroom walkthroughs, how school leaders are getting into classrooms. I know, Mr. Navarez, you and I have walked through some classrooms this school year, and just the regular cadence of school leaders getting into classrooms and seeing what's happening and ensuring that the instruction is at the appropriate level. So we celebrate those conversations. I know that just as a teacher gives a common formative assessment to students, we kind of approach this conversation in a similar way to see how are the things that are happening at schools really taking a pulse for how students are doing, and we look forward to the next round. And I think, lastly, I would say we also asked the school leaders, what can we possibly do to help support those efforts as well, as we are committed to ensuring their success and doing everything we can to get the barriers out of the way. So school leaders, thank you very much for that, and we look forward to the next round of these very positive and successful conversations.
Thank you, President Conchas, governing board members, Superintendent Dr. Maez. I'd like to celebrate our outreach coordinators. We, in their collaborative teams, their cohorts, we have one cohort that is led by Jessica Jensen and Elisa Zagala, Shanna Smithson, Kara Huff, Corinne Hart, and Stephen Combs. They were inspired after speaking with their classified staff, building those relationships and learning how important it was to their team that they have an opportunity to, as we would say in Leader in Me, sharpen their saw, but really develop stronger skill sets aligned to the work that they do. So this cohort came together and created classified professional development. They're starting small because they want to make sure that they're aligning it to needs and doing it as well as they can. But their first PD was on the 22nd. It was after hours, and they had, I think, about 27 classified employees show up, and they learned about student management systems and building relationships with students. So they learned a lot about strategies on how to de-escalate kids, talk to kids, work with kids. But it was very successful. They've asked all the members who attended to give them specific feedback, and they've gotten some very specific feedback, a lot of celebration, and most importantly, they want more. So they're going to continue with a few more professional development opportunities this year with the hopes that we grow it and grow it amongst our outreach coordinator team. So thank you guys for all your hard work.
Good evening, President Conchas, governing board members, and Dr. Maez and the Alhambra community. I want to share that we are very excited after our contracts have gone out and come back. Our first part of that recruitment and retention stipend is going to be paid out next week, just in time for spring break. So we're really excited for those of our employees who've accepted their contracts and are returning will receive the $1,500 minus taxes before they leave for break. So we're excited about that. I had to put that in there, right? And then one last plug. I know I did this last time, but for our career fair coming up next Wednesday right here in this very room on March 6th, from 4 to 6 p.m. We are so excited. I love hearing that someone was proud to be part of Alhambra. You shared that earlier today. I personally made an offer to a teacher coming over, and she was so excited. She even said she was very excited to come and be part of the team here. So it's really exciting. We want to, Alhambra is a great place to learn and grow and be the professionals that we all know we can all be. So it's an exciting place. So invite your friends and families to come be Alhambra employees next week.
Good evening to our governing board president and our board and our superintendent, Dr. Myers. I'm excited to continue to celebrate the great work of our counselors. Today I want to highlight the entire school. James W. Rice, we had a visit from the Department of Education. They wanted to look at our character education. So we invited them to JWR, where Principal Noble and Counselor Tony Johnson shared a dynamic leadership class based on Leader in Me. So they're using the Leader in Me book, and they're taking through 6th grade and 8th grade through an elective class, and it was just a dynamic moment. Out of that moment, Mr. Johnson was invited to come and be a part of the summer summit around character education, and the entire 4th grade got invited to the Capitol to go to the museum and visit I don't know, they're going to visit lots of people. It's going to be a dynamic moment. But what a great moment for Principal Noble. So congratulations to her and to Tony Johnson. And then also next Wednesday, we're going to have the wellness fair, and we want everyone to stop over, check out the vendors, and find great wellness over at Catalina from 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock p.m.
President Conchas, members of the board, and Dr. Myers, the Child Nutrition Department is very excited to announce the kickoff of their Breakfast in the Classroom educational campaign on social media. Over the past 2 weeks, they've posted 6 engaging messages to raise awareness about the BIC program, and the campaign will extend through March, culminating during National School Breakfast Week. You can follow our journey at AESD, whatever that @ sign is, AESD_Child Nutrition, or on Facebook, AESD Child Nutrition. There's a sample of one of my favorite posts in front of you. This educational campaign emerged from the collaboration between Child Nutrition and our association, spurred by valuable teacher feedback on our Breakfast in the Classroom program. So it's exciting to see it in action. And then I have a heartwarming share out from one of our partners, Brent Benninghoff, the community outreach organizer for Valley Metro. He hosted a meeting at Westwood last night to explore high-capacity transit initiatives with our community. But the heartwarming part of that was a great meeting. But the heartwarming part of it was that Mr. Benninghoff was so pleased that he sent an email follow-up and said, "Thank you for everything. Your school and staff are amazing. The room and the amenities were fantastic. And Jan Vision, who helped set up and tear down, is a treasure. He went above and beyond, and I'm sure he is a very loved man at your school." That just really got me, so I had to share it with you. I also wanted to share that in closing, this week, as Alhambra celebrates Public Schools Week, we are shining a spotlight on one of our 8th grade students. Students like Araceli make our public schools shine. She is one of over 10,000 students who choose Alhambra every day. That's the caption for the most recent reel that you can see if you follow us on social media. So here's a little snippet.
Some of my favorite memories was going outside and eating ice cream after DQAs if we hit proficient higher. That was usually one of them that was out there. Something that makes me proud is knowing that we're an A-rated school and that we have excellence in our district. Something I really enjoy is the teachers, because they're really nice, and all the teachers that I've had from my homerooms, they've been really respectful. My teachers play music to help us get stuff in our brains, because for some people that helps them think better. So my math teacher, Mr. Watson, he's always has appropriate songs that we can use, and when we're taking tests, it's piano music, so that helps me.
Good evening, everyone. I also just want to thank everyone for all their hard work, and I appreciate President Conchas, you mentioning what you're hearing about our district. I know yesterday I was visiting Sevilla East, and just asking about staffing, checking in to see how we were doing, and the leaders were sharing how they had a few interviews lined up, and they are current teachers in other districts, and they were sharing how the teachers were saying, we hear great things in Alhambra, and so we want to come be a part of Alhambra. And it just made me excited to know that because we agree, great things are happening. And so again, thank you to all of our leaders for all the hard work that you're doing to make sure that we're fully staffed for this next school year. Another thing that I wanted to share right now, there are a lot of questions out there regarding our summer school, and I want to let everyone know that our team is working really hard right now to get everybody as many answers as possible so that people understand our vision for our summer school program. What I'd like to share is that first, I'd like to share that this past school year, well, remember, we've had ESSER funds these past school years. And so it's made it very helpful when planning programs such as our summer school program, which has actually cost our district about $2 million, just over $2 million each summer. And so it's been wonderful that we've been able to provide it. But when you think about now as we're winding down with those funds and wanting to ensure, knowing we have minimal resources, knowing the situation with our enrollment, even though we're very thankful that it's been going up lately, but at the same time, we have to be cautious because we still know our trends and we pay attention to the trends. And so, again, $2 million, if you think about it, the fact is only 1,363 students were a part of our summer school program. And so when you think about $2 million that we don't have this year, because again, we don't have ESSER after this year. And so the fact is, and I'll to give you an example, when you think about $2 million, we're able to impact everyone in the district. The recruitment and retention stipend costs us about $2 million to give to everybody. So when everybody gets their check next week, that's about a $2 million investment from our district that is for everyone, that impacts as we recruit and retain the very best for the kids of Alhambra, because that's what they deserve. So again, $2 million investment, it impacts all kids. And so when you think about our summer school program, $2 million, only impacting 1,363 kids, we want to make sure whatever we're doing with our resources, we are having the highest impact possible for our kids. And so right now we're really thinking differently, knowing that, number one, we don't have $2 million, and then number two, whatever we do, we want kids to come and be a part of this program. We want our kids to be engaged this summer. We know how important that is. And so we have different funding sources that are available, and we're trying to be wise with each of our funding sources. Another thing that we heard this past school year was teachers are overwhelmed. You know, they always are, and so it's a hard job. We know that. I'll put a little plug in for our well-being survey. It's currently out, and so right as of I last checked before the governing board meeting started, we have 202 responses. We know that we have 1,700 employees, so we'd love to hear from more of you. But I continue to read those every day. I check them and I reread and just see what's on the mind of all of you, our wonderful staff, and people are overwhelmed. And so if we're going to make an investment this summer, we want to make sure that if teachers are going to be a part of something, that if we can not only engage our kids, if staff want to be a part of something, I should say, because we have our support staff that want to be engaged too, and our certified staff, is there a way to engage as many students as possible and at the same time utilize our staffing so that we can not only engage our kids, but can we help teachers be better prepared for the next school year? Can we engage them in things that will not only help them be better teachers, and just a lot of considerations that we're making right now. And so like I said, there are a lot of questions still out there, and I appreciate Mr. Reese and our educational services team who are working really hard. I know Mr. Kent, I know you've been a part of that collaboration as well. And so a number of our team are. And so I just appreciate everyone, and know to our staff out there with the questions, we're trying to get you answers as quickly as we can, but there are a ton of opportunities to engage both our teachers and our support staff. And again, our goal being to engage as many kids as possible, that kids will want to come and be a part of this program. So lots of work to do to make sure that we achieve that, and I have no doubt that we will. And then again, don't forget, we do value the feedback of all of our staff. And so if you haven't filled out the well-being survey, be sure to fill that out. So again, thank you to everyone for all your hard work. And that's it for now.
Thank you. We are moving to L, meeting closing. L1, the next governing board meeting will be March 28th, 2023. 2024. Okay, currently it is a 6 o'clock meeting, and Ms. Dana Lucero will let us know if that changes. Going to L2, calendar of events, please check out the AESD calendar by visiting the Alhambra website, alhambraesd.org. You will be able to see a monthly calendar of events throughout the district. Coming up, we have March 5th, Art Night at Alhambra Preschool Academy. March 7th, the 6th, 7th, and 8th grade concert at the Global Academy of Phoenix. March 11th through 15th is Spring Break. And we also got invited to a recital at ATS for ballet on Tuesday, March 5th from 6 to 7 p.m. at Choice Learning Academy. So please stay up to date with the calendar. Moving to L3, adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
I move to adjourn.
Thank you, Mr. Solorio. Is there a second?
A second.
Thank you, Mr. Oropesa. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you.